Okay, this is my final film, and what I'm going to show you in this is how to just add some shadows and just make it look a little bit more realistic, really. You can see at this point I've added some little fences, I've got some steps, and I've added a bit of a structure underneath, and the idea is that it just raises it to stop it from getting flooded. So what I'm going to do now is add some shadows. It always makes things look a little bit more realistic if we've got some shadows in there. So what we can do is, if I go down the side view, you'll see that I have this green and red line, and that actually represents the surface of the ground. And if I go to view shadows, you can see that the shadow falls on this, what we call plane. So what we need to do is we need to raise the whole of the drawing now up. So if I select everything, I go to move, and I move the drawing to above that green and red line, you can now see that the shadows fall in a way that you would perhaps expect them to. So what we can now also do is, if we go to window and shadows, there are some options with regards to how the shadows fall, and you might want to play around with these because sometimes just by juggling these things around you can get more interesting and better results. So obviously if I go towards the date being June or July, then you'll notice that the shadows fall quite hard like that, and if I go towards the winter months, you'll notice that you get longer shadows, and that's pretty much what happens in reality, really. So just try getting different effects, and you just want to do something that creates an interesting effect across the whole of the drawing. Basically, you're trying to use the shadows to make your design look as 3D as possible. So I'm going to go for something perhaps like that. That's quite nice. And that is pretty much it. So you can see I have got my windows, I've got my cladding, I've got my roof sorted out, I've got my structure underneath, I've got my steps and my little patio outside, and that pretty much forms the final design. So all I need to do now is make sure that I have a JPEG of my final design. Just before I do that, I'm going to remove these axes here. You'll see that there are these blue and green axes, and I don't particularly want that in my drawing, so I can click on axes. If you've been using the guides like I have, you might also want to deselect that so that you've just got your beach hut. So I'm gonna got my view. That's the view I'm going to go with, which I'm quite happy with. I'm going to go File. I'm going to go to Export, and I want a 2D graphic. So I can now select a number of different options. I'd recommend going for the JPEG option. Save that. Think about where you save it in terms of your folders, and then you'll have a final design that you can stick into your booklet. And there you go, you finish your beach hut design. Well done.